You have control over what makes you angry. You have control over what you value, what you choose to value. You have control over your reaction. You have control how you handle all of these things because it is all in your brain. And when you allow yourself to react angrily to something or to, let something you see or you hear, whatever it is, if you let something affect you, right, you're just wasting your own mental energy on that thing, right? And even more so if not only you're wasting your mental energy, but you take the time to reply to something angrily or, yell at somebody or whatever, right? You're not going to benefit anybody by doing that. It's not like you're going to be able to convince somebody of a different opinion just by yelling at them or just by telling them they're wrong, right? That almost never works. A lot of the time, even when you give somebody a logical argument, it doesn't work, right? Sometimes people get very stuck in an opinion and nothing you can say or you can do will change that. And, a lot of the time it's like that with politics. I know that's probably something you might be thinking about that makes you angry a lot. Or just, opinions on things in general, right? If somebody just boils your blood for whatever reason and it gets in your head and you're just stuck in your head thinking about how angry you are and, seeing red is an expression. I don't think I've ever literally seen the color red, but I've definitely been so angry that it's like I can barely see straight, right? And I wanted to talk through this just because it's the holiday season, and I don't know about you guys, but for me at least, I often have to interact with people who are not the easiest people to interact with, to put it lightly, right? And a lot of the topics I talk about are things that I'm learning myself, right? Or I've either learned and want to share with you, or I'm in the process of learning it myself. And this is definitely one of those things where I am in the process of learning it myself. And, saying this to you guys is as much, catharsis for me as it is, just to listen to it, right? And this is something I need to say. And as per usual, I've kind of taken my notes on the topic, and now I'm talking about it. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but I take notes on topics usually. I've just got like a notebook here. Not really Linux topics, but all of these sort of more personal topics I like to talk about, the more life advice sort of topics. I like to take notes on them, and I like to then kind of talk about it. And I don't really read through notes, but I definitely sort of have thought through in my mind what I want to say here. But anyways, the first main thing I want to talk about is a lot of the time when somebody has either an opinion that is making you angry or a judgment that's making you angry, like if they've passed a judgment on you and they're voicing that, right? A lot of the time it's just because they are missing context or they're missing information or even they're missing, evidence that you have that you saw that they didn't see, right? They're just missing something. And you could sort of think about it, right? If they were in your head, would they understand why you feel the way you feel about a given topic? Would they understand your opinion or why you made, like, for example, a choice you made that somebody is judging you for, whatever it is, right? Would they understand if they had that context? And then you have a choice if you want to correct them and try to help them understand. And I don't mean, in an angry, like, yelling sort of way, but truly sit down with somebody that you don't get along with and try to, make amends with them. Because that is possible to do. I mean, it's very hard to do, I would say, but it's possible. And you have the choice if you want to try to do that. Or you also can just turn the other cheek and move on and not let it get into your head, not let it affect you, not let it ruin your holiday, right? And I guess I'm sort of putting this in like a real life sense, but I think this applies, online too, for sure. I mean, there's lots of times, right, if you see something that kind of pisses you off, and you're really thinking about, do I want to go reply and just, crush this person and tell them how wrong they are and why everything they said is just completely wrong? And it's like, it's not worth your time, right? You have to just sometimes turn the other cheek. It's not worth your time to get mad. It's not worth your time to try to correct somebody or try to prove somebody wrong, because chances are they're not going to listen anyways, right? And it's sort of worth approaching life in general, in my opinion at least. This is sort of the direction I'm heading in, of valuing the sort of core morals that are important to me and letting everything else go, right? And not having strong held opinions about things that are not, of those true moral values. And those are the only things that I really want to uphold and the only hills I would die on, so to speak, right? So, for example, obviously I put out a lot of Linux content. I have a lot of opinions about Linux and stuff, and I think that's, all well and good, but it's not opinions that I truly care about in, a valuing it in like a moral sense sort of way, right? If I get like proven wrong, just completely obliterated and proven wrong on something, right? It doesn't matter. Like, I learned from it and that's all, right? It doesn't affect me, right? Somebody disagreeing with me about Linux, for example, is not gonna like make me angry. It doesn't annoy me. What does annoy me is somebody disagreeing with me on a true value sort of thing, in real life, right? If there's sort of a disagreement on a serious core value, that's the sort of thing that for me gets in my head, and that's where I'm sort of making this video, making this point of view from. But like I said, you can apply this, however it is in your own life, right? But anyways, I'm sort of trying to restructure how I think about these values and just sort of, first of all, make sure I'm actually consciously identifying what my values are, because a lot of the time I think all of us are sort of subconsciously raised with values, whether it's, from religion or just from however you were raised, whatever it is, right? And we subconsciously have values, but we might not necessarily be consciously aware of what those values are. And then suddenly, like, something gets attacked and you're like, oh, wow, I really feel strongly about this. I said that very casually, but more so in like a very angry way, realizing how strongly you felt about something before, and before you didn't even know you had that opinion or you cared about that value, right? So I think it's worth consciously identifying what your values are, and then realizing, if you make like a specific choice, or maybe you've taken like even in the sense of like a career path or whatever, right? As long as you've made the right choices, the like morally right choices, and you've stood by your own values to make those choices, even if somebody is angry at you or judging you or whatever it is, you have to just let it go and know that, you made the right choices, you stood by your morals, you stood by your values, and everything else, just let it be. Even if there are, real and serious consequences for making a specific choice, right? Even if you, for example, lose people in your life by making a specific choice, right? To me, the right choice is always going to be the one that is most in line with what I think are important values or important morals, or how I want to live my life by those values and morals, essentially. And, like I said, you might have values and morals from religion, you might have them from your family, you might just, I don't know, have acquired them along the way. I don't know how other people get their values and morals, but I would say I have pretty seriously defined values and morals, and I try to live my life based on them, right? So if I make a choice and I get crap for it from people, as long as I know that I made the right choice in terms of my morals or my values or whatever it is, right, then I can deal with that, and I don't have to, get in my head and get angry about it. And that's luckily something that I think I've sort of been able to work on and move past, and there's definitely still areas where I can feel, I'm getting very angry about something. It's something that I should just be brushing off, and it's something that I should not be getting angry about. So that's why I'm sort of making this video, and that's why I wanted to share that, like, this is sort of how far I've come in this path and where I still have to go to learn more about this, right? To learn how to better, control my reactions to things. And I think this is something that, nobody is ever perfect in any sense, right? So I don't think it would be a stretch to say literally everybody can work on this, because, you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to have everything absolutely figured out. So, yeah. But, as usual, think for yourself. If you completely disagree with everything I've said here, then that's fine. I'd much rather see somebody, disagree of their own thought and be thinking for themselves, right, than just adopt something I said just to agree, right? But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Peace.